My name is Charlotte Young. I work as the project manager for the South African History Archive. My job is to promote people's right to access information. South Africa's Promotion of Access to Information Act, or PAIA for short, is a law that gives all people the right to access information from government and non-government bodies. 8 years after PAIA was created, South Africans remain relatively unaware of the Act's existence. Whilst there are small pockets of activity, there is still much to learn. India began pressuring government at all levels to make information available to the public in the mid-1990s. 15 years later, India stands as one of the greatest examples of how successful activity at the grassroots level can mobilize ordinary citizens to participate in their democracy and bring about change. I've come to India to watch, listen and learn about the Right to Information movement, or RTI for short, and to share knowledge of a similar movement in South Africa. The aim is to identify Indian examples of how RTI activists are mobilizing ordinary citizens to use the Act to bring about change in their community.
We are here today with Mahiti Adhikar Gujarat Pahel, MAGP, which is an NGO based in Gujarat, and in 2008 they launched the RTI on Wheels, which is this truck you can see just behind me, and within the vehicle they educate people through a DVD about what RTI is, how it can empower them, and how the law isn't actually as scary as they would think. And they also distribute leaflets to let people know about their rights and about the importance of asking questions to get rid of, to try and get rid of corruption in their local government decisions. And they also sell a copy of the Act itself for 20 rupees, and they've also developed a small resource which is called 6 Steps of RTI, and it breaks down the Act very simply into layman's terms so people can understand the Act. And what they found is that a lot of people initially were very scared because the law to them was very elite and was something that could only be addressed by people wearing a suit. So through the RTI on Wheels, they've actually empowered many communities. And for example, one community only 2 months ago, the RTI on Wheels van visited, and in the past 2 months they themselves have submitted 83 RTI requests on their own back, which is incredible success.
And without media, in fact, it's one of the very important stakeholders in RTI.
Absolutely.
Yeah, even in the RTI Act itself, it is said that by using media, you have to take RTI to the grassroots. So government is to make manual of RTI, user manual for RTI, and even under section 4 it is mentioned that whatever information you are disclose it through wider media, through libraries, through notice boards.
So it's specified.
It's specified using media.
Okay, okay. And it's so because in South Africa there's an onus on a public body to voluntarily disclose information,
Okay.
but it doesn't stipulate how it must be disclosed.
Yeah.
But in India,
it is specifically mentioned. There is a separate subsection for dissemination of section 4.
Okay.
And we want to focus more on that because the government is already putting so much money on advertisement or propaganda. So if that same thing can be used for disclosing information, which is reliable, which is budget, which will be in data and facts.
Yeah.
Definitely it will increase the credibility of the organization and the government itself.
Yeah.
So now government is realizing that disclosing information and being transparent will make them more credible.
Yeah.
MAGP also runs an RTI helpline and drop-in clinic, providing expert advice to members of the public as well as government workers. MAGP holds a strong principle that you must not give things of value away for free. If people are asked to pay for services, even just a small amount, they are far more likely to consider them valuable and make use of them. The establishment of an information commission at both state and national level is embedded in the RTI Act. Whilst there are problems that need ironing out, each of the commissioners I spoke with had a firm conviction that RTI would be impossible to implement without an enforcement mechanism such as the Information Commission.
I think it is required, that distance from the public authorities, and at the same time being citizen friendly, that is a great necessity. That detachment from the public authorities, and at the same time the commissions to be pro-citizen, citizen friendly, that is required. For him to be able to feel his importance, that is a great feeling.
There is a current debate among civil society and government authorities in terms of who best fits the role of Information Commissioner. Shri Habibullah sees his extensive bureaucratic background as a huge asset.
Since I am aware of how the government functions, and therefore it is an advantage as transparency grows, as things become better known, as practices develop. It will be easier for those who don't have a bureaucratic background to actually be able to operate the act.
Shailesh Gandhi sees bureaucratic experience as unimportant. What is most important is that the Information Commissioner is committed to his or her job.
If I want to eat an omelette, I don't have to figure out how to deliver an egg. By that analogy, are judges expected to learn everything about everything that they are judging? No, they only need to know the law. A commissioner only needs to know the law.
Public Concern for Government Trust, PCGT for short, has made use of performance arts as a way of promoting RTI and sparking interest amongst local villagers. In Kalinyang community, they have trained 35 volunteers in RTI. These volunteers use drama as a way of communicating the importance of RTI. Their play is simple yet effective.
गणतंत्र गट आपल्या समोर सादर करीत आहे नाटक माहितीचा अधिकार नाटक माहितीचा अधिकार नाटक माहितीचा अधिकार.
Roughly 10,000 people from more than 30 organisations gathered in a park in Ahmedabad for a political rally. Farmers, tribespeople, minorities and other oppressed classes travelled from all over Gujarat in order to participate in the rally, many travelling for over 24 hours. They are here to put the right to information on the political agenda. In Rajasthan, the local government official committed to openness and accountability in his election manifesto. Today, this municipality, or Gram Panchayat, displays information on its walls outside the building detailing budgets, expenditure, and other important information. Gujarat state-level government officials, or PIOs, responsible for dealing with RTI applications, receive formal training from SPIPA. SPIPA's Deputy Director is passionate about the need to train government officials and believes that this model should be followed in other parts of the world. If the people responsible for dealing with applications do not understand the Act, then how can they be expected to assist citizens with their requests? India has demonstrated that it is possible to mobilise people at all levels of society to realise their right to access information. The task now is to analyse and reflect on what has been learnt here and develop models in the South African context.